things are going well, and I still woke up wondering why I'm enough. That is okay, and that is so human. So just as we talked about the choice is an everyday thing, knowing we're enough is an everyday thing.
And welcome everyone to another episode of Humanity 2.0 podcast, where we are interviewing humans about humanity. Imagine that. Today's guest is Laura Bratton, who is empowering individuals to navigate through change. And Laura is the woman of the hour because she is teaching you how to courageously live with the foundation of grit and gratitude. Now, having experienced blindness as a teenager, Laura is super passionate about sharing her unique experience. And Laura, I am so thankful for you as a human and that you are inspiring the world. Girl, you inspired me and I didn't even know you. So,
well, thank you for this opportunity, and thank you just for this platform to have a real conversation about humanity.
So the question of the hour is, are you a good human and why?
Wow, that's a great question. My immediate gut reaction without even cognitively thinking about it is yes, because I've learned to develop self-love and self-compassion.
Yes, that's amazing. I wholeheartedly agree. I've experienced various people with hesitation or trepidation, but even some that are like so aware in themselves and they're like, heck yes, 100%, I'm a good human. So it is interesting to see how someone's brain kind of like does a mental inventory super fast about that. And so for you, what's an example of self-love and self-compassion?
So for me, the best example has been learning to love myself, the self-compassion, the compassion towards myself in the midst of very, very difficult situations. And I say that because it would have been easy as a teenager and even now as a 40-year-old to choose the victim, the self-pity. And instead, I loved myself enough to offer that self-compassion to continue moving forward.
Yes, I totally agree. And we are super hard on ourselves all the time.
Right.
You know, regardless
Judging.
of, yeah, we're judgy humans. Like humans are so, I mean, you know, if there was a different life form, they'd come to Earth and be like, man, y'all are some judgy people for real.
No, and the worst of yourselves, right?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I mean, we judge that we're judging.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. It's like that whole judge lest ye be judged. Well, shoot,
Right.
We're judging all the time. And then on top of that, we are heavily critical when we don't judge ourselves. And we're like, who are you to even not judge yourself? Oh, good God.
Yes.
We just need to stop judging. People listening and watching, just stop judging yourself. Okay. And stop judging each other while you're at it.
I wish it was that easy, right? I wish just that statement, it would click off in our brains. But I have yet to either work with on a professional level or in a personal level, meet somebody who, any age, it doesn't matter age, any label you want to use that doesn't judge themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just be super critical, like you're saying.
Yeah. And I think that very, very recently, I was doing that to myself, but then I kind of snapped out of it a little bit and I was trying to decide, like, how can I pull myself out of that? And I thought, okay, well, my whole thing is like service to others and being of service to others, right? And so I thought, okay, well, maybe if I do some awesome service to others things, that'll make me get out of myself. And the thought of it helped me out. So each his own, whatever that is.
Wow, that's great.
That's
great. It worked.
Yeah. So
refocus, reframe.
Right. And sleep helps, apparently.
That is very true.
Yeah. We don't get enough sleep, and I personally don't get enough. So I'm not sure about you and what your daily schedule is. You do a podcast as well, correct?
I'm a podcast guest, but I don't host my own podcast.
You're a pro guester.
Yes.
Oh man, you are so lucky. Do you know? Okay. So I think the best part about guesting is that you get to walk in, you know, throw this amazing wisdom down and just wow everyone with your essence. And then you just get to walk out. And then the rest of us, we gotta, you know, clean the table and make the furniture nice. And we gotta edit everything and put it. Yeah. I'm gonna do what you do. Now, it's been said that hardship teaches empathy. So speaking of compassion, but hardship teaches empathy. And that once you've been broken, that you see the world very differently. Can you tell me of a hardship, the first one that comes to mind, where it broke you and then empathy helped you to view the world differently and it just pulled you out and kind of reinvented how you see yourself and humanity?
So 100% that is the experience of losing all of my sight as a teenager. And so having to go from knowing and living life as fully sighted to then adjusting and adapting to life without sight, and then also living every day without sight. So yes, this initially happened to me 30 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever as a teenager. Yet I still live every single day as a person without sight in a sighted world. And that can easily break a human. So being able, again, going back to that self-love, that self-compassion, that's how I developed not only just empathy for others, but empathy for myself. That yes, this almost broke me, but because of that self-love and self-compassion, I saw the world through a different perspective, a different mindset.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping you would share. So thank you for sharing that. But if I can ask just a very simple follow-up, and forgive me because I'm going to stumble, because the whole concept of having lost your sight so young and then having to live with that, like that is beyond comprehension for a lot of us. And so how does one make it through that? You know, in the simplest terms, how in the heck did you pull through and become this amazing person you are? No pressure.
Support. I cannot emphasize enough. Support of community is the reason I'm here today and able to move forward and offer myself that self-compassion, that self-love. And when I say support, I don't mean that in a cliche way of like, oh yeah, there's great support. I mean that in a very literal, tangible way. And I can give countless examples of the family, the friends, the teachers, the community, complete strangers who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And here's for me what made the biggest difference. It was not through their words. So if someone said to me like, oh, I believe in you, I would just roll my eyes and put my hands on the hip like a teenager. Like, please, right? Like, no, thank you. It was through their actions. And a tangible example is in those high school years when I am actively trying to figure out how do I live every single moment as my vision is quickly decreasing. I was overwhelmed by the present. I was overwhelmed by the future. I was deeply grieving. And I'll never forget every single day my parents would say to me, Laura, all we have to do today is focus on this moment. All we have to do is get up, get breakfast, get to school on time, and that's winning for the day. That's success. So having that instilled in me over the years told me, yes, this situation is absolutely overwhelming. This grief is more than I can bear. This grief is literally breaking me emotionally, physically, spiritually, every sense of the word you can think of. Yet having that constant reminder of live in the moment, live in the present. That's just one example of the support that sustains.
That's an excellent example. And you brought up another question that I didn't even think about. So it happened in your teenage years. That means you had full sight prior to when your sight left, correct? And so I interviewed once someone who had use of their legs before and when they were a child, and then they had a degenerative disease that eventually, took their ability to use their legs. And so they knew both sides of it. And so they could give that accurate representation of what it was like prior and then afterward and be able to kind of give a different insight. For you, I guess, if you could tell us a little bit like what that is like and what that means now, having known both sides of it.
It's a catch-22 because it's an incredible, I'm going to explain both sides. And this is my honest how I feel every single day. It is an incredible gift that I have that visual map. So when someone says, it's fire engine red or it's burgundy, I can instantly visualize that. And even just in my hometown, like where I grew up, even to this day, my mom was like, oh, remember where the Walmart is? That's now a Hobby Lobby. And so I had that instant visual map in my head. So that is an incredible gift that I am deeply grateful for because I had that image. As people describe things to me, I'm forming that image in my brain. So that is an incredible gift. The extreme difficulty is I knew and lived how easy life is as a sighted person. And so I live with that constant knowledge of this used to be so much easier with sight. If I just had sight, it would take me 5 minutes. Now it takes me an hour to do. So it's that constant grief, that constant frustration, that constant anger, that constant sadness. I know what I'm missing. I know what I no longer have.
Thank you for sharing that with us, both sides. I appreciate that so much. You have no idea. If I could ask, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that grief of knowing? And, how do you deal with that?
So the way I've learned to deal with it, and I want to make it clear, this has been over years, like in small steps. This wasn't one magical, miraculous moment. I deal with it through first, when I had that support around me, choosing to receive that support. And then over time, choosing, yes, that support is great. Now there becomes a time where I have to believe in myself. And the whole foundation, the whole basis in this, what my work is on, is having the grit to say, this grieving is about to break me and I choose to keep going. This is really, really hard and about to break me. And I choose, and I'm grateful for the guide dog that helps me navigate the world. So I answer that by saying both can be true at the same time. I acknowledge the difficulty of the grief while also choosing to believe in myself and keep going moment by moment. And so it's not okay, I agree, that was really, really hard. I move on. It's all good now. It's living in both worlds at the same time. Does that make sense? What I mean about
yeah, 1,000%.
Validate the grief, yet you still choose to believe in yourself and believe that I'm worthy enough to keep going. So it's not an either or.
Right. That is like the definition of resilience and strength. And I'm already inspired by you, period. But now everyone is like 10 times more inspired by you and captivated by you. I believe, and I guess what I heard was that the word choose, and in place of that I don't know if you said the word, but for me, I hear acknowledge, that you acknowledge those areas, those thoughts, those feelings, and then you choose to still move forward and move in the world as you wish to move, not being defined by anything or any limitation or any, idea from someone else. And I've said that today actually to someone else. You weren't there, but what I said was that we often form ourselves based on internal and also external influences. And so with the external, you have lots of people who mean well, that want to, give you advice and give you guidance, but sometimes that's not what you need. And sometimes you have to pull internally, and we have to eventually decide for ourselves what it is that we'll keep and what it is that we will discard. But in recognizing that you can choose, that's everything. That's everything is being able to choose and then act on that, I think.
You did it absolutely perfectly. And I'm so glad you pulled that word out of what I shared, because that is the root. Our choice is everything. Because no, I can't control I'm losing my sight. I can't control that this happened. What I can control is what I do with it. And what that instantly made me think of when you said that word choose is, yes, that support around me was so great. Yet I had to choose to move forward. I had to choose to believe in myself as they believed in me. So it's not just this passive, oh, I got this great support around me. That's wonderful. Is what do you do with the support? Also the other thing that instantly came to my mind that I want to share it's not a one-time choice. It is a choice I make every single day. And often within the day, I make that choice over and over and over. So again, I don't want it to come across as something that's magical. On June 13th at 5:18, I chose, and then from then on ever after, life was easy and rosy and rainbows. It's every single day choosing I'm worthy, choosing that I believe in myself.
Yeah, there's so much more to it than we realize.
Yes.
I often think of this book and I pick on it all the time, but I'm just going to do it again anyway. So Prozac Nation, self-help book, Prozac Nation. I can't stand it just because it goes from I'm very bad to, oh, I'm well. And there's no discussion on this really ugly part that a lot of self-help books do not go on. And I understand they don't want to dwell on it, but you know what? The power and the strength and the acknowledgement of and dissecting and actually finding out the root of this darkness and this area that you are, that sticky wicket or whatever you want to call it. I think that is where, your power comes from. You need that as a foundation to then move forward and become who you are. It burns my biscuits, man. It just annoys me that these books don't do that.
I completely agree. To sit in the pain.
Yes. And so I've been working on something for a really long time. So, slowly but surely, but just gathering personal accounts from other people with mental health experiences and getting them to share their story, like just raw, and then putting that in a compilation into a book so that can be published. And it'll be like an anti-self-help book. Does that make sense?
Perfect. That's what's needed. And I can honestly say if I had the book you're talking about, if I had read that as a teenager, it would have been a game changer because everything I read was exactly what you described. You had this major problem and now, ta-da, you're happy. And it's like, but that's not my experience. And so if I could have had your book, truly, I don't mean that lightly, it would have been a game changer to know I'm not alone, because I genuinely thought something was wrong with me because no one else was talking about that messy middle.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That makes me think quite a bit. I apologize for not releasing that book earlier, but we're almost the same age. So, I'm 41. You said you're 40, correct?
Yeah, no, I'm 41. Yeah. So get it out there. Hurry.
I will. You're right. You know what? Because Laura said so, I'm gonna get it done. That's what I'm gonna do. So I need, contributors. So I got to work on that part. But I do have a couple, but I need more because a book is definitely more. And then I want to take other folks who are artists that are living with mental health to have them do the art on the other pages. So I think just make it very interactive, and I think it'll be really awesome. But it's called Complications and Metamorphosis because, metamorphosis, it's just I think it's really cool. Really cool. Anyway, we went on a whole different path, but let's talk about humanness and shared humanness. So shared humanness, our experiences that we share with other humans, right? There's typically a whole slew of people in your life that you have these shared humanness moments that they exemplify just crazy levels of empathy or compassion, whether it be to you or to someone else. Can you tell me a story of someone who exhibited this amazing shared humanness and it just never left you?
Yes. And I have to share an interaction that I had with a mentor. And I actually thought about this earlier. I thought about her and the story I'm going to share when you asked me about the having vision, but before I lost it. So I will never forget the interaction. It was a week before I was going to start college, and I was in an administrator's office, and we were talking about academics and scheduling and my professors and books, just all the normal stuff before you start college. Very academic, right? Like not emotional. This wasn't a therapy session. It was just very strictly about classes and schedule.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of the conversation, I stood up to leave and she said, "Oh, Laura, I just want to tell you one more thing before you leave." And remember context, 18-year-old girl getting ready to start college. Like, I know it all, right? And I'm thinking what she's getting ready to tell me is, "Oh, your professor you'll have on Monday, everyone loves." Just, oh yeah, make sure to go to Chick-fil-A in the student union. Just something so about the schedule, about the day. Her next words changed my life. "Laura, I know that you feel like you've grieved your vision loss through the 4 years of high school. Now you're getting ready to start college. You can check the grieving box and now you can move forward. I just want to give you permission that you can grieve and move forward. Grieving is not a weakness. Grieving does not mean you haven't accepted your blindness. Grieving does not mean you don't love yourself. Grieving means it's a real part of your lived experience because of your life. So as you start college next week, you can absolutely move forward and also feel the sadness, feel the difficulty of the grief. And that was the whole conversation. And I left your office, of course, as the 18-year-old thinking, I'm not really know why she said that. I don't really need to know that. I'm good, right? Like, of course. I'm an 18-year-old starting college, right? Like, I don't need information on grief. I didn't ask for it, right? But as I went through college, and since we had that conversation, that short interaction, I've never forgotten. And it was life-changing for me because it gave me choice. It gave me the permission that it was okay to grieve, where I thought that was a weakness. I thought I had a timeline on grief, and then you're done grief and you're done grieving and don't talk about it anymore and move on. So her empathy, it wasn't a pity. It wasn't like baby me feeling sorry for me. It was pure empathy of empowerment. It was a game changer. It absolutely changed my perspective on grief and also moving forward. I mean, honestly, I talk about that every single day when I talk about grit, because she taught me I could have grit. I could grieve my vision and keep going all at the same time.
What an amazing human.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal. I hope that everyone has that experience in their lives. I know of some that I've had as well, but that's such a quintessential experience, I think, for someone to come into your life and speak these amazing truths that you may or may not receive in the moment, but then they're life lasting.
And you didn't even know you needed, right? Like, yeah. I didn't even know that's exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those of you guys listening, watching, I hope that you have had those people in your, those humans in your life, or that you will, or be those humans for other people. How about that? That would be amazing. So I hear agency. When I hear that story, I hear that she gave you agency, which is huge. But then, like you said, she gave you just like that, I guess that foresight, that, like you said, the grit, but also just the permission to be in your grief and to be you and however it is you wish to be, but definitely grieve. We think of grieving in all sorts of states, and some of us might be afraid because once we open that door, it's open.
Right.
And then anything can happen. And then some people close the door. Some people just, pretend no one's home and turn off the lights. And, and then there are other people who willingly open the door and just embrace all of it. And, I think we are all of those people sometimes.
Yes.
And if we could harness and learn from and absorb and acknowledge and do all the work to be in it, and then understand that we've come through it, or even if we're still working with it, that we will come through it. And if we can learn from it and utilize that in a positive way, then we would definitely be a lot better for it.
Yes. And again, circling back to that agency you said, because what you said was so powerful, and I just want to highlight agency to be me. Like, that's the gift, that's permission she gave me. That in my life, in my circumstances, to be me, it was healing, and it was absolutely fine to grieve and feel that sadness while also moving forward. And for somebody else, obviously it looks totally different, but the gift is we have the agency to be us.
And we shouldn't forget that. We should not forget that. That's a game changer too. So look at you changing games. But I love that you share of your experience so willingly and openly. And that is powerful for everyone, not just because of circumstances or what you've been through, but as a human being. I mean, how often do we get to do that? Not everyone gets to do that. And if we could all do that, that would be pretty neat, to say the least.
It would be pretty empowering, right?
Pretty empowering. Yeah, that's what I meant by neat. But you know what I mean. Now, today's society often judges what it doesn't understand, right? Big shocker. What do we not understand about vision impairment and how we should treat people that have vision impairment?
So my answer, I promise, is not the answer I'm giving because of the name of your podcast. I mean this deeply, and I would answer this if it was not the name of your podcast. We are human. In all my experiences with countless people, if I could sum it all up, just treat me as a human who's worthy of respect. It's that simple. People get so focused on, how do I speak to you? How do I talk to you? What word? I mean, they get so nervous and so undone with like how to interact with me. They forget I'm human. So just treat someone with a visual impairment as a human, just like with respect and worthiness. That
was very simple and very complex, but simple. I appreciate that so much. I can say proudly, I wasn't in that group of people, I guess. Maybe it's just because I've always treated everyone like other humans, and I've never looked at someone with limitations or, with exception if they're weird or whatever. Like, I've never looked at people, with any kind of judgment, just as humans, which is a blessing.
Yes.
And I'd love to say that I got it from my parents or my mother, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. I'm just a weird one-off, that sock in the dryer. That's just, that's me. But I do understand what you mean when people treat you a certain way, and I see it happen all the time. And I get it. I get it when you don't have any prior knowledge or experience in dealing, or not dealing, but in experiencing other people that are different than you.
Yes. Yeah.
And maybe it's because I was different. Who knows? Laura?
I'm telling you, it changes your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not going back to that judgment we've been talking about. It's not a judgment that people do that. It's just a lack of knowledge, as you said, a lack of awareness. It feels like they should treat me different. They talk to me different. I'm so amazing. I'm so inspiring. I'm Superwoman. No, actually, I'm a human just living through this human experience. Mm-hmm. You could tap into the same amazing strength if you are forced to. So my answer is simple. You said it perfectly. It's simple, but it's very complex. It's simple, but it's hard to live out, right?
I mean, I would challenge us, and I think I've been challenged with several things, so we're going to be pretty busy here. But I would challenge all of us to view people without all of these, I guess, for lack of a better word. I mean, it's getting late in the day, so I'm losing my words here, but just without their limitations or exceptions, right? If we could just look at people as humans, just bottom line, everybody's a human. Awesome. Treat each other that way. That would be pretty great.
There'd be so much more kindness.
Yes. Humanity 2.0, maybe.
Right.
That's the whole purpose of the show, is to allow, humanity to be on display, but in a good way. And I know I had to say that, but to enable you, or to give you that platform, like you said earlier, to share your story, also share your experience with humans as a human, and then let other people take from that. Let them learn from you, let them hear questions that they are too scared to ask, but I sure as hell will ask them, because like I said, I'm very open, and I don't see anyone differently. So I hope that people watching, listening will gain a new understanding and appreciate everything that you've said, because you've said some really amazing things that are very simple, yet very complex. Now, one of my favorite questions to ask people is, can you tell us the why behind what you do, and then tell us what you do?
So the why behind what I do is 100% because of everything we just talked about. And the why is, I am so deeply passionate about being that support that I received, being that support to other people. So as they navigate through change, they can make the choice. They have the choice and the agency to be empowered, rather than being that victim, pity, give up on life. So the speaking, the coaching, the reason I wrote my book, everything is centered around being that support that I received, so that others have the choice.
And we're so thankful for you and all the work that you've done. Like, truly, not being, Not being congratulatory for empty purposes, but truly, I really admire what you've done. And I think that everyone should read everything you write. Can you tell everyone where to find you, all the socials, the books, all the stuff? Let it out, sister.
So it's all on my website. LauraBratton.com you can buy the book. If you purchase it from my website, I can sign it, personalize it before it's sent out. You can learn about my speaking, the coaching, email me, connect on LinkedIn. All the information is on my website. So I'd love to connect and hear about your experiences with grit and gratitude as you've experienced change, because we all have.
That is perfect. See, Laura, you just got like an extra 100 points because people don't understand. You put all your links in one place, one website. That's the way you do it. And then let them click all the buttons and have all the fun. And you did a great job. So awesome. Good on you, Laura Bratton. And my last question for you, which is one of my favorites. I've been asking it for 5 years in a couple different ways, but in this way, it deals with humanity. Also, shocker. If you could share a message with humanity, any message at all, what would you tell them? And feel free to take a moment if necessary.
You are enough. And I say that from my lived personal experience. As I was going through the major change, now still living a life with a person without sight and outside of the world, it's hard to believe we're enough. We constantly, just like we talked about, we constantly judge, we constantly critical, we constantly compare ourselves to others, and especially in the midst of change. So for anyone listening in the midst of change, I want you to hear and know and hear the two of us say and believe you are enough.
That is an excellent answer. And you are right. We are enough. We are. I'm not going to lie. I think you're talking to me directly because it's been a rough day. It's been a rough day, Laura. It's been a rough day, but I appreciate that. And I'll be fully transparent because like I said, I am to a fault, some might say. But yesterday I woke up and I'm taking some medicine. So it makes wonderful things happen. But I woke up asking, am I enough? Literally asking, am I enough? But not just in one sense of the word, in all senses of the word. Am I enough as a sibling? Am I enough as a host or as a creative, as a director, as everything that I do, as a family person, as, a partner to someone? I don't know why. I mean, I shouldn't be questioning that. I mean, I guess we all do, but in this particular time when things are doing really well, I shouldn't be asking that, but I was. And so what you just said definitely helped. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure everybody watching and listening did as well.
Absolutely. And I want to highlight the key of what you said, because that's so important for me and for everyone listening. Things are going well, and I still woke up wondering why I'm enough. Yeah. That is okay. And that is so human. Nothing is wrong with that. It's not like something's wrong with you. That's just the ebbs and flows of our life. So just as we talked about the choice is an everyday thing, knowing we're enough is an everyday thing. Again, it's not like I made that on, August 25th at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And then forevermore, I'm enough. We have to believe that every single day, when things are good, when things are bad. So thank you for saying that, because it made me realize, it's not just a blanket statement one time. It's something we, again, choose to believe every single day. So thank you for saying that.
Quite welcome. But really, I think you should thank yourself, because technically you said it. Something of the effect. Earlier, you said you choose it every day. You did say that. So technically, 50-50 credit. How about that? Let's do it.
Perfect.
All right.
Teamwork.
It has been amazing talking to you today. We just flew through all the questions, which is awesome. But at the same time, it has been just lovely getting to know you as a fellow human. Knowing that you're out there amongst the 8 billion humans makes me very happy. So please definitely keep us updated on all of your journey. I would love to have your book, so I'll have to work that out so I can get a signed copy from you for sure. And for all of you guys watching or listening to Humanity 2.0 podcast, be sure to join us on the next episode. Don't forget to join the humanity conversation by subscribing to the show on the platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, and Apple Podcasts as well. And then, of course, all the social platforms that you follow. And you're on it all day, but it's okay because at least you're watching good messages. At least you are with me and Laura. So that being said, be sure to visit the description for the episode where you'll find Laura's links, my links, Podmatch's links. By the way, Podmatch, thank you guys so much for matching us up. If you're not familiar, Podmatch is a wonderful platform for not only podcast hosts, but also guests as well. Case in point, Laura Bratton. Yeah, she's a pro guester on Podmatch. If you're a Podmatch host watching, make sure you grab her because she is amazing. And also, they are the only platform to date that gives a commission to their podcast hosts, which is unheard of because they believe in sharing with their podcast hosts and also elevating them and working with them at the same time. You'll never find a CEO on the ground floor with the podcasters trying to help elevate them as humans and as podcasters. So Podmatch link in the bio as well. You can support the show by visiting buymeacupofcoffee.com/humanity 2.0 podcast. You can buy humanity a cup of coffee. How about that? Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next episode. And above all, don't forget to be good to other humans. Laura, thank you so very much. I hope you have the best day of your life.
Thank you.
Humanity 2.0 podcast is brought to you by Vanessa the Vivacious Productions. Want to be a guest? Visit the link in the episode description for future guest opportunities. Ready to podcast like a boss? Join Podmatch and begin your Podmatch journey via the link also listed in the description. Subscribe to Humanity 2.0 podcast on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Follow and help support the show by buying Humanity a cup of coffee via buymeacupofcoffee.com/Humanity 2.0 podcast. Above all, don't forget to be good to other humans. See you guys next time.